I mean, for me, drawing is kind of like the seismograph of your soul. It's taking the emotions and you put it out there so others can see it. You know, and I got to say, I've got this strange belief that when I'm designing a character, an animated character, that they actually exist before I drew them.
That was former animator at Disney Studios, Glenn Keane, explaining how he creates his characters, or in his words, how he discovers them, a concept also explored by Michelangelo during the Renaissance. Michelangelo's influence on Keane's work goes further. In a 77-second moment, through Michelangelo, Keane defines a transformation in classical form. In 1987, Walt Disney Pictures begins plans to adapt the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast, something Walt himself hoped for 60 years earlier. By 1989, the initial plans are scrapped and the studio starts from scratch as a Broadway-style musical after the recent success of The Little Mermaid. However, the standard 4-year production schedule is cut in half, leaving the animators awkwardly short for time. Glenn Keane is made supervising animator for The Beast, and after much thought and research, designs a bison, bear, deer, gorilla, lion, boar, wolf, man. Oh, with a cow for the ears. Now, Keane insists on saving dessert, the transformation scene, for last. It's a scene he explains he was born for, and when the time comes to animate, he only has a week to finish it. After some desperate words to producer Don Hahn, Keane is given all the time necessary to perfect the scene. With the extra time, he drives to the Norton Simon Museum, home of Rodin's Burghers of Calais. Although centuries apart, Rodin considered himself a student of Michelangelo's, determined to learn the secrets of the great magician and breathe life into still figures. Centuries later, Keane looks up at the Burghers of Calais, describing them as souls with iron. Then he looks to Michelangelo and his prisoners or slaves. Michelangelo regularly sculpted freehand, starting from front and working back. Some of these sculptures are unfinished, and the effect is powerful, almost like the figures are breaking their way out. Every block of stone has a statue inside it, and it's the task of the sculptor to discover it. And what Michelangelo discovered was a slave, a prisoner in mid-transformation. Atlas in penance, transforming. The slave awakening, transforming. These are the themes hidden within the film's background art. Beauty and the Beast is one big transformation scene, but it's more than that. It's Michelangelo with a fresh block of stone. Throughout the story, from Beast to Prince, we're watching how Belle's intervention extrapolates Beast's emotionality. We're watching him growing more and more human, despite being trapped as a beast. If the body is the prison of the soul, slowly we're watching the soul break out, something that Michelangelo mastered with his sculptures. In a sonnet addressed to his close friend Vittorio Colonna, Michelangelo describes sculpting
as when, O lady mine, with chiseled touch, the stone unhewn and cold becomes a living mold. The more the marble wastes, the more the statue grows.
In the final transformation scene, Keane brings this concept to animation, molding humanity from a rough, cold stone. He sees animation as sculptural drawing, even insisting that if Michelangelo, Rodin, or Degas were alive today, they would want to be animators. Watching the scene now, you can see the sculptural drawings as vivid reflections of Michelangelo's work. The slave awakening, the carefully contorted hands and arms grasping for humanity, a prisoner longing to be freed. It's a transformation by creation. As his new form is lowered, we see a glimpse of the Sistine Chapel in a hand, and it becomes clear why the prince is named Adam. Then, finally, rising and turning to face us, David. Artists have studied Michelangelo's portrayal of the human form for centuries, but with Glenn Keane, the Disney Renaissance of the 90s enhanced what Michelangelo's Renaissance forged, namely, the search for life within the art, for the figure within the stone. So with some extra time to animate the scene, Keane transformed the classical form mastered by Michelangelo and the face of modern animation as we know it today.